Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 28. Let's jump into things. Alrighty then. So, a little bit of a small turn as far as actual activity goes, but kind of a big turn as the last few turns have been for what I believe to be board state. Let's jump into them. We have completed Conjuration 2. Our way up to Conjuration 3, and beyond that, really 4 and 5. Apupa, the Raktapada, has claimed the Throne of Air. Cool. We did some site searching, but did not find anything. Unfortunate. We had a battle in Tenaria. These were our combined forces against a fair number of Horse Tribe cavalry, but this isn't going to be a contest. Our Mushushus are going to rip this apart. Easy peasy. Just slaughtered. Okay, very nice. No losses, 26 kills on the Mushushus. Good stuff. Unexpected event has occurred in Greenwood. Enormous earthquake has struck. Later, when the earth settled, horrible monsters appeared from the cracks in the ground. Unfortunate. Okay, so this is a population event plus a invasion event. Unfortunate. In Kunaral, a witch was drowned in the well of a village. Thereafter, the water has started glowing in the moonlight. This esoteric substance has been distilled into a large quantity of gems. Actually pretty nice. 12 water gems in a single event. That's pretty cool. And then we have an unexpected event in Kronberg. Your temple has been vandalized. Several statues have been smashed, so minus demended and old. Ew, not good. And then we have the invasion event in Greenwoods. And if it comes from the ground, it's normally either elementals or troglodytes. And troglodytes are nasty in big numbers. Very nasty in big numbers. They have size 4. They tend to trample most things. They'll trample everything that we have except for our Mushushus, right? They hit pretty hard, although it's only a single attack, and obviously if they're trampling, that. But they have pretty high hit points and shitty other stats. Unfortunately, I think this keeps happening in Greenwood, right? It's this situation of like, Bear Tribe's not great, but it's not horrendous, and if we could only get a decent amount of them, they could probably hold the province against something like this. But yeah, this isn't gonna work. So let's watch their demise. The javelins go out. Javelins are actually pretty good against troglodytes, but see, when they attack, they inflict a bunch of damage, and then now they're all dead. It was that fast. That quick. And our elder is able to escape. So, 21 troglodytes, really, in Greenwoods is kind of unfortunate, but we will work. Alright, we've got a lot of movement. We've got a lot of preparation. We talked about kind of the plan, the board state of the game, the plan to attack Pangaea with a coalition. And that is seeming now, right? Kailasa is obviously in the war, and Kailasa and Hinnom have made peace. I have brokered an arrangement with Lanka, right, who was kind of planning on attacking Hinnom, to not do that so that Hinnom and Kailasa can attack Pangaea with me. I've wanted to bring Mictlan into the situation, but they've kind of gone dark on me. It's possible that they are already speaking with Pan, and that they plan on taking Hinnom and or Kailasan lands in a defense pact with Pangaea. I don't know that that's the case, but that's, that's a possibility. Meanwhile, Yomi and Fimoria have reached a non-aggression pact. They have made peace after their stalemate war. And this is an army of 160 demon on my board. So, Yomi contacted me 2 turns ago, actually, to ask me for peace. It might have been 3 turns ago, to ask me for a non-aggression pact. And I had not responded to them intentionally, right? It was by design. I did not respond to them because I was not sure whether or not I would be trying to turn on them or trying to turn on Fimoria, etc. I wanted to keep my options open. I have since had conversations with them. Apparently, they took my silence, and this is perfectly fine, right? Obviously, I took a different stance when I was talking to them because, you know, I want to try to negotiate favorably. But this is perfectly fine that they reacted this way. They reacted in a very knee-jerk reaction that they thought I was gonna prep and go to war against them, right? So they hurried up and made peace with Fimoria, and then they mobilized armies to preempt me. They are not pleased that my response now is no, I have no intention to go to war with you. I'm perfectly fine with a non-aggression pact, right? And they have tried extorting me to compensate them for the board state that they're in now, right? Since my silence pressured them into making peace with Fimoria, since my silence pressured them to mobilize armies against me, they want me to compensate them with either the province of Neotha or 500 gold. And here's the thing. Negotiation tactics like this are perfectly valid, 100%. And in a lot of situations, I will 100% take those types of negotiations. I'll offer those types of right? There was legitimately a moment where I was like, will I do this? Will I do this? And I was like, I could see it. I could see me buying the non-aggression pact from them, but not for 500. So I attempted to haggle. They did not take it. And basically we reached no accord. Because at that point, for me, it became a matter of principle. Like, I will take negotiations, but if a person won't, if a person comes to me with you're gonna do X for Y, period, and they won't like bend or adjust the price or the area, then I tend to react very hardline as well. I think 500 is too much. I think giving a province over is too much. I think Yomi made the decisions that he made, or they made, right? And that's whatever. So instead of giving them anything, I basically said, I'm not willing to acquiesce to those demands. And now we have the uncertainty, right? Because it's not a declaration of war. They didn't say, you're going to give me gold or a province, and a non-aggression pact, or we're going to war, right? They didn't say that. So now we have the uncertainty of, are they going to attack us next turn, or are they going to prep? Are they going to try to negotiate alliances, or are they going to just be miffed at me? and wait. But the scenario is in a game like this, I tend not to do that type of stuff. The situation as it has developed, this is my favorite part of the game, right? Is the mid-early game, as negotiating alliances and talking through coalitions with people and doing a lot of different stuff like that. I want to focus my efforts on Pan, and I do plan to still try to do as much as I can in the Pan scenario, right? I've made a commitment to that. But I also am not about the life of someone trying to extort me or breathing down my neck. So, if Yomi attacks me next turn, well, actually, this is irrelevant. Whether Yomi attacks me next turn or not, I've made arrangements to go to war against Yomi. Okay? And those arrangements might not work out. They might backfire against me. But in theory, Lanka and I are going to attack Yomi. Lanka is breaking their non-aggression pact with Yomi this turn. And we are going to try to take him out. I think we have a decent enough matchup against Yomi. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why as we kind of like go through what actually is happening in the turn. But I think what the plan will be is we will try to be can't think of the word that I'm going for. I plan in this war with Yomi not to be incredibly aggressive, right? I'm going to fight him, but I'm not going to try to, like, barrel down and take his capital and take all of his lands and everything like that. I'm perfectly fine fighting armies and perfectly fine dealing with him. But I fully intend for Lanka to actually gain the lion's share of the territory here. Partially because I don't relish the idea of having this noodly, like, weird shaped L empire. Okay? So after the initial stages of the war, I might bring or try to bring in Fomoria. I know Fomoria has a non-aggression pact with Yomi now, but you know, unless they've set a specific term limit or whatever, those types of things can be broken or be ended, and then Fomoria can come in. I always say breaking your nap, but when I say breaking your nap, I mean ending your nap. It's a bad habit in language that I utilize. Anyways, okay, so this is kind of the board state that we're in. We want to get into things with Pan. There's been a little bit of silence. I'm 100% sure Kailas is coming in. I'm pretty sure Hinam's coming in. Mictlan has been radio silent, so I do not know what's going to happen there. I'm going to try to do what I can, but first, I need to make sure that we are dealing with Yomi appropriately. So we're going to hit Yomi in the near future. We're going to hit Yomi hard. We're going to hit him fast. And we're going to try to give Lanka an easy war so that Lanka can... Because Lanka is a very strong nation. I think Lanka is a very strong nation. So if Lanka gets a nice war against Yomi and can get some good territory, Lanka could be a very nice ally for us for a long time. So we'll see how that goes. Okay? Alright, what are we doing this turn? We've got a lot of movement. We are moving NC2 with a small army, 25 units into Greenwoods. Okay, this is a little ballsy, right? The Troglodytes will trample my Urgard and my Inky's Chosen. And I don't have many Mushushus to get involved in this. But I think it's probably going to be okay, right? I'm probably going to lose some units, but I wouldn't expect to lose too many. So we're going to try to take Greenwoods. We're also sending Elder 3 back there to try to continue to work on the province. We're continuing site searching in locations. We are actually sending NC3 up to Ctesiphon, right? With his big stack. And this is a mostly fresh army, which is good because the army in the north, in Tenaria right now, is very beat up. Right, so we're sending this army up here to Ctesiphon. They can cover a couple of provinces very easily, which is nice. They'll be in Perenna in 2 turns, and then they can start hitting here, here, here. And that'll be the plan, right? Is we're going to consolidate some forces and then come in swinging, basically. So, NC1 and Masanapada are going to Agartha at the moment, just to chill out and patrol, basically. And that's mostly the real army movement this turn. Let's talk about other things that are going on. Let's talk about, we're forging a Dwarven Hammer. This is a trade for Femoria. We're getting 4 Owl Quills out of it, which is actually kind of a... It's not a great trade for us. we could forge the hammer for ourselves and then just make the owl quills and go from there. But our air income is very bad, and we are trying to foster goodwill with Femoria for now, right? So, you know, it's not a bad trade for us. And it'll be a little boost in research, which is going to be nice because we're going to lose some research. We're going to lose research up here as we bring mages into battle against Yomi. Okay? So we're at over a little bit more than 200 research right now, but we're going to lose a good portion of that as we bring forces to bear against Yomi. So we're finishing Conjuration 3 next turn. This is important because this is going to give us mainly Earth power, right? But it's also going to give us a couple of other interesting things. One of them being Awakened Vinemen. And this is a really good use. Good use. This is a really okay use of nature gems, in my opinion, right? Vinemen are kind of like that reanimation style situation, is you can get a lot of them very quickly, very cheaply on low-level mages. So, pretty nice. It also lets us get herd of buffaloes on the right people. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those right people yet. And last but not least, it's going to give us Dark Knowledge. And Dark Knowledge is going to be useful once which I want to do in the next couple turns. I want to put a lab here in Sinkhole Swamp. And I'm probably going to do that with the Azure Mage. I'm probably going to take a turn to build a lab instead of actually recruiting the Yetis, which we're getting more and more of them, and these guys are badasses. Very happy about that. Okay. Let's talk about recruitment real quick. We're getting another Gudu down in Koenberg. We're getting an Into next turn. We've got Mushushu and Inky's Chosen and some Urgard recruitment. I didn't really discuss why I'm getting an Into, so this is actually kind of important. We're getting an Into specifically because we have a 50-50 chance of getting a random that we really, really want. And those randoms are either a Earth 3, right? Or a Nature 2. Okay? So either one is really, really important for us. And this is why we're getting an Into instead of an NC, right? Is because NCs give us a Water 3 or a Nature 3 as our randoms. We don't really care about the other 2 randoms. And we don't care about the Water 3 as much as we do about an Earth 3 and a Nature 2. So we try to use NCs as commanders only. And then intos as mages that we're trying to get for these specific paths. And why do we want these specific paths? Well, a couple of different reasons. Earth 3 is important for forging a lot of different gear, things like dwarven hammers, etc. Right? So those are important in that situation. Obviously, if you get up to construction 4, then you don't have to worry about that as much because you can throw boots around to different gudus and do things there. But if you have Earth 3 on an into, then you can have Earth 4 on an into, right? It's kind of that scale up. Some really good options, especially in later game. If you get into battle scenarios, you have an Earth 3 into with boots or Earth boots on, and you do Earth power. Suddenly, you have an Earth 5 into, which can do some really good buffs, right? Like weapons of sharpness buffs. Actually, I think weapon of sharpness, isn't that only 4? No, weapon of sharpness is 5. So you know you can do some really nice stuff with that. Another thing, Nature 3 or Nature 2 is really nice because of stuff like Herd of Buffaloes, and this is just because it's a pretty efficient, you know, it's a national summon, so it tends to be more efficient than regular summons. So Herd of Buffaloes is nice, but also it's nice because, well, it's not at this point, but at construction, I want to say it's at construction 4, you need a Nature 2 to make a Thistle Mace, I believe. And then, so just having access to the Earth 3 Nature 2 is pretty important. And we have a couple of ways to get those. One of them is through our intos, but another way is through our... Oh, can't do it. Oh, we can do it up here. Is through our Enkidu Shamans, right? These guys come at Earth 2 Nature 3, and they have a 33% chance, basically, of getting... I have a higher chance, but I try not to count the 10%. We have a 33% chance of getting Nature 3. So these guys can get us into a lot of those situations as well. But they're very, very expensive. Super expensive. 275 gold and 220 gold per year versus an Into, who is 265 gold and 106 gold. Anyways, so that's some interesting reasoning why we're getting an Into, is we're hoping to luck into the right situation. We don't want to have to use our god for making dwarven hammers constantly like that. We want him either casting big spells or doing a lot of research or site searching or something like that. What else are we doing? We are recruiting in Agartha. We're recruiting Urgard to augment this army in Agartha. And we are recruiting Ishibs in both Agartha and in Irena. Why are we recruiting Ishibs? Okay. This is actually really important. This is for multiple reasons. One reason is we are running up Conjuration. Okay? And Conjuration 3 gets us lesser water elementals. Conjuration 5, if we go that far, which we probably are, gets us straight water elementals. And now Ishibs aren't going to be able to cast water elemental. Well, they can. They're not water 3, but you can give them an additional water gem, right, to cast a water elemental. And water elementals are very strong, right? We've got a whole bunch of water gem income, and water gem income is kind of... It's not something that really matters too terribly much to me, right? So, it's something that I'm willing to like go through lots of it with reckless abandon, basically. Like if we went through 40, 50 water gems in a turn, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. You know, no big deal. There's another reason though we're recruiting Ishibs. And this is probably the more important reason. It's because they're Holy 2. And that means something. And a lot of people don't think about this, but having recruitable Holy 2s lets you do stuff like Smite Demon. Honestly. So Smite Demon is 30 plus range, 0 fatigue cost. If I have 6 mages that are smiting demons, they can cast this forever. They will not fatigue out. They do not care. It is 100 precision, guaranteed, gonna hit, right? It's 15 plus damage. So for the 2s, it's just gonna be 15. But if you have like H3s, right, hit real fucking hard because it's gonna hit for 20. Okay, armor negating, magic resistance negates. So they do make an MR check, but it only affects demons, right? This is the anti-demon spell. It's very good. And if you have, now obviously, right, if you're fighting against something like Yomi and they have Oni pits, they're free spawning a shit ton of demons, right? Like having 1 or 2 Ishibs is not gonna mean anything. But keep in mind, I send a H3 with every army. I send an NC with every army I have. So having an NC, which is an H3, and then having 5 or 6 Ishibs kind of at the ready. That's potentially, right, 5 or 6 Smite Demons every single turn. Boom, 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 boom. 100 precision MR negates. And these demons do not have great MR. I will tell you that. So it's a pretty effective, it's kind of like bringing priests for banishment against the undead, but it's a weirder, more specific scenario. And here's the other reason why it's a weirder, more specific scenario, is because banishment tends to be completely useless against stronger undead, right? Not entirely, but normally. Smite Demon is still, so like Dionis, for example, right? They're gonna have magic resistance, sure, but it's only 18 magic resistance. And if we take a look at like Onishugos, only 16 magic resistance. I don't remember if his Bless had magic resistance on it, but if they don't, it's possible that spamming Smite Demon, right? If you get into the to the scenario where he's trying to like thug you, spamming Smite Demon can fuck up an Oni Shugo or a Dioni, right? And if we need to, we can look into like other options. But I think realistically that getting a couple of Ishibs and having them at the ready is going to be pretty good. So we're probably going to do that for a couple turns here in Perenna Agartha. Okay, and this all depends on like what Yomi's immediate reaction is. Obviously, like you can see, I'm moving Elder 4 into Neotha, and I'm moving these Enkidu Elders, which have not been renamed yet, into other locations as well. So I'm not operating under the assumption that he's going to attack me immediately, but I do kind of think he's going to attack me immediately. So we're going to be at the ready. I had thought, honestly, about the idea of going ahead and sallying out my forces to Neotha, because I do think he's probably going to hit Neotha next turn. Because you know, I pressured him and asked, is this, you know, if I don't take your arrangement, if I don't take this, is this a declaration of war? And he was like, no, this isn't a declaration of war. But I expect him to do that kind of scenario where he like hits me next turn and he's like, this is a declaration of war. You know. So I had thought about the concept of hitting the Neotha, like sending all of my forces to Neotha and trying to defend it. And I think I could potentially win, but I think it's a risky move that doesn't need to take place, right? I can just keep researching in Agartha. I've got a force here. I can recruit for a couple more turns on things. I have a force coming up with NZ3, so I'm not super worried about it. I think we're gonna get into a tussle with Yomi, and then we're gonna hit these spaces, and then we're maybe gonna take a little bit more. Maybe Jabal Kish, maybe Trackless Wastes, and then I think probably Lanka is gonna be able to take the majority of the rest of its territory. And maybe I call, like I said, maybe I call in Fomoria and say, hey, Fomoria, take Verdant Step and Gold Re-Up. You know? Like, take this southern section. Get good. Get strong. So, I think that's kind of the situation as it stands. I've been talking a lot about hypotheticals and ideas and the situations behind them and diplomacy and the different negotiations, etc., that I go through. Like I said, this period in the game is my favorite part of the game. I'm having a lot of fun, like talking to people and planning things out, etc. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. That's going to be it for the turn. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.